For today's practice, we will focus on twists, beginning at top edge of mat in Tadasana. Your eyes may be open or maybe they're closed. Option for arms locked by sides, maybe palms facing top edge of mat. As you find all four corners of your feet, allowing yourself to be rooted and supported in this moment. Finding a gentle bend of knees as you lower shoulders from ears. Finding your tallest health by reaching crown ahead, high sky. Coming into your practice, into this moment. As you find yourself here, maybe you bring hands to heart center, taking a moment to press thumbs into sternum. Noticing your breath, your heartbeat, and the life force within you. Throughout practice, the invitation is to use your breath to guide and anchor you throughout your practice. If you notice your mind wandering, or you notice discomfort, the invitation is return to breath in this moment. If your eyes are closed, maybe you gently lift them open. On an inhale, reaching arms high to the sky. And on an exhale, hinging at your hips, finding a forward fold, bending knees generously here, allowing the torso to fall out of your hips. Maybe you bring opposite hand to opposite elbow. Option to find movement. You may choose to nod or shake your head. Maybe you turn the body side to side. Bringing belly button in towards spine. As you find an inhale, coming up for a halfway lift, straightening out your back, widening collarbones. On an exhale, fold. On an inhale, bending knees, root to rise, arms long overhead. And on an exhale, hinging at your hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. On an inhale, bending knees, root to rise. One more time, exhaling, hinging at your hips. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. On an inhale, bending knees, root to rise, arms long overhead. And on an exhale, we'll bring hands to heart center. As we bring our palms long in front. On an exhale, twisting to the right, bring the right arm long behind you. As we find an inhale, gently coming back to center. On an exhale, twist. One more time, center. Exhale, twist and hold. Option for gaze to follow. Your hips may square off or maybe they twist with you. Staying connected with breath. On an exhale, we'll slowly come forward as we reach our arms. Hinging at your hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bending knees, root to rise, arms long overhead. Exhale, hands and heart center. Inhale, arms in front. Exhale, twist to the left, bring the left arm long behind you. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. One more time, twist and hold. Maybe the gaze follows the thumb. Hips may square off, or maybe they twist. Rooting into your feet. Bringing belly button in towards spine. On an inhale, gently back to center. As we lift our arms. Exhale, hinging at your hips, forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, hold. Bending knees, root to rise, arms long overhead. And on an exhale, we'll find our way in chair. Maybe hands by heart center, maybe they are next to ears. Shifting the weight into the heels, bringing knees in towards one another, even if they're not touching. Inhale, rise. Exhale, chair. center if they're not there already. And on an exhale, we'll twist to the right. Option to bring the left elbow outside the right knee if room allows as you slide your palms towards your hips, bringing the right hip forward slightly. On an inhale, gently unwind, rising. Exhale, chair. Finding your variation, whatever that is. As hands find heart center. And on an exhale, twisting to the left. Option to bring the right elbow outside the knee. Maybe you slide your hands towards your hips. Bringing the left hip forward slightly. On an inhale, gently unwinding as we rise. Exhale, hinging at your hips, forward fold. Inhale halfway. On an exhale, placing palms on mat as you step back for plank. Option to lower knees. Bring your belly button in towards spine, whatever variation you have here. As you find an exhale, downward facing dog, shifting your hips high. Pedaling out your feet. Or finding anything that calls to you and your body. Inhale, roll forward for plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward for plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time, rolling forward for plank. As you lower all the way down to the mat. Bringing your gaze to the left as we bring backs of hands to our low back. On an inhale, we'll lift our heart as we lift the right arm. On an exhale, gently release, gaze to the right. Inhale, lift gaze, lift left arm. Exhale, release, gaze to the left. Inhale, lift heart, lift right arm. Exhale, release, gaze to the right. Inhale, lift heart, lift left arm. Exhale, release, gaze to the right. Inhale, lift heart, lift right arm. Exhale, gaze to the left. Inhale, lift heart, lift left arm. Exhale, gaze to the right. Option to stay here, or maybe we find crocodile by bringing elbows to the outside edges to the mat, lowering forehead to the hands, breathing into back body. You may always choose to stay here, or when you're ready, we'll lift the forehead. Bring our gaze back to the left, hands to low back. This time we'll incorporate the opposite foot. On an inhale, we'll lift our heart as we lift the right arm, left leg. On an exhale, gently release, gaze to the right. Inhale, lift heart, lift left arm, right leg. Exhale, release, gaze to the left. Inhale, lift heart, lift right arm, left leg. Exhale, release, gaze to the right. Inhale, lift left, lift right. Exhale, release, gaze to the left. One more each side. Inhale, lift right, lift left. Exhale, release, gaze to the left. Inhale, lift heart, lift right. Exhale, release, gaze to the left. Option to stay here. If you'd like, I dream of genie arms. Maybe opposite hand finds the top as we lower forehead or third eye. Maybe you'd like to turn your hip side to side, finding any movement that calls to you and body. Breathing deeply into back body. When you're ready to release we'll bring our hands under our shoulders as we push ourselves up to tall kneeling. Finding our way to our shins. Bringing the left hand behind us to lift the right. On an exhale, we'll lower the right arm as we lower our hips to our heels. Inhale, lifting left, rising all the way to center. On an exhale, lower left, hips to heels, forehead may reach back. Inhale, right. On an exhale, gently release. Inhale, lift left, rising. Exhale, gently release. Inhale, lift right, rising to center. Exhale, gently release. Inhale, lift left, rising to center. Exhale, gently release. One more on each side. Inhale, lift right. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift left. Exhale, release, and we'll meet in a modified child's pose. Staying connected with breath. Releasing palms down to the mat if they're not there already, as we slowly find our way to a downward facing dog. Slowly walking your hands back to meet your feet, finding a forward fold. Inhale halfway, maybe arms go next to ears. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Bending knees, room to rise, arms long overhead. And on an exhale, we'll slowly release hands down by sides. As we bring the right foot about 45 and take a gentle step forward with the left foot. On an inhale, bringing arms next to ears. Maybe there are heart center, even your hips if that feels better to you. And on an exhale, we'll bend into the front leg as we come about 45 with our back. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, bend. Inhale, center. Exhale, bend. Inhale, center. One more time, bend and hold. From here, we'll lower our hands next to our hips. Option to stay here, or option to interlace fingers. On an exhale, folding forward, elbow forward. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, fold. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold. Inhaling back to center. As we fold and hold. Option to keep the interlaced gaze maybe at the left big toe. Belly button in towards spine. When you're ready to release hands, if you have the interlace, slowly and gently bringing them inside the front foot as we walk to the long side of the mat for Pasarita. Maybe your toes find their way in as your heels find their way out. You may come up for a halfway lift, straightening out your back before you fold all the way forward. Taking any variation of the shape you like. Bringing hands under your gaze as you come up for a halfway lift. And we'll tee out our arms. On an exhale, we'll lower the left arm, right arm goes high to sky. On an inhale, gently coming back to the tee. Exhale, right arm. Inhaling back to tee. Exhale, left arm plants. Inhale, back to tee. adjusting yourself in any way you like. As we bring the left foot about 45. Take a gentle step with the right. On an inhale, lift your arms. Or maybe they're at heart center, making your hips. On an exhale, bending forward, back about 45. Inhaling, center. Exhale, bend. Inhale, center. Exhale, bend. Inhale, center. One more time, bend and hold. Stacking knee over ankle, looking for the right big toe. Back about 45, noticing how that might change sensation in this shape. As we lower our hands, maybe you stay here, maybe interlace fingers opposite way. Lifting gaze slightly, and on an exhale, humble warrior. Body may fall inside or on top of the leg. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, humble. Inhale, center. Exhale, humble. Inhale, center. One more time, humble and hold. Gaze at the right big toe. Belly button in towards spine. Pushing away from the right thigh. If you took the interlace, gently releasing. Bringing hands inside of the legs, we walk to the long side of the mat. Finding the forward fold here. Taking any variation you would like. Gently bringing hands into your gaze as you come up for a halfway lift. Capturing your hip creases as we rise all the way to standing. Heel toeing our feet in, with our heels in, toes out. On an exhale, we'll slowly bend our legs as we push our knees outward, finding our way to glass. Your hands can stay here. Maybe you bring them inside to kind of give them that gentle push. Staying connected with breath, trying to elongate spine, lowering shoulders from ears. If you notice the shaking, inviting the prana, the energy into our bodies with kindness, know we're all shaken too. As we find an inhale, we'll gently rise all the way to standing as we step to the back bend. On an inhale, reaching here. On an exhale, hinging your hips forward. Inhale halfway. And on an exhale, walking forward for plank. Taking an inhale. And on an exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward for plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward for plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, shifting your gaze to top edge of mat as you hop, step, or walk. Finding a seat. Bringing your legs long in front. Making any adjustments here that you would like. On an inhale, reaching your arms. Belly button in towards spine, and on an exhale, forward fold. Inhale back to center. Exhale, fold. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold. Inhale, center. inhale, hugging your knees in towards your chest. And on an exhale, we'll straighten the arms, feet hug. Inhale, bring your knees in towards chest. Exhale, straightening arms, knees hug. Inhale. Exhale, push knees away. Inhale, knees in towards chest. Exhale, push knees away. Maybe finding 2 or 3 more at your own breath-based speed. And once you've found what you need, we'll slowly find our way to constructive rest with soles of feet on the mat, knees pointed high sky. From here, we'll slowly bring our hips slightly to the left as we lower knees to the right. Option to goalpost or tee out your arms. Maybe your gaze stays high, or maybe it falls to the left. Option to change variation of this twist in any way that calls to you. On an inhale, gently unwinding, gaze back to center. As the top knee, then the bottom knee comes back in towards your chest. Bringing your hips back to center. Taking any movement that calls to you to prepare yourself for the second side. Slowly escaping the hips to the right as you lower knees to the left. Option to goalpost or tee out your arms. Maybe your gaze stays high or it falls to the right. option to integrate movement by gently turning head side to side, bringing the thumb to the tips of your fingers, maybe circling your wrists and ankles in each direction. If you would like to take a full body stretch, maybe reach your arms long overhead. Point your toes to the end of your mat. If it calls to you, option to bring knees in towards chest, giving yourself a gentle squeeze. You may choose to end your practice wherever you find yourself, or if you would like, slowly making your way to a seated shape. If it calls to you, maybe you bring hands to heart center, taking a moment to reconnect with yourself, with your breath, heartbeat, and life force within you. Thank you all for taking time to share your energy and practice